Is it panic time in Provo? Because BYU's now lost 3 in a row, and Big Bad Houston is coming to town on Saturday. So in this video, I'll tell you why you should be genuinely concerned about what we're seeing with BYU, and why actually history says you probably shouldn't freak out at all. Seems a little contradictory, but I will explain, okay? I promise you. So BYU got rocked pretty good. 99-92, I don't think is really a final score indicative of as lopsided as it actually was. I mean, Oklahoma State jumped out by 15 late in the game. Coming down the stretch, final 10 minutes of the game, like BYU just could not buy a stop to string anything together. They were getting some offense, could not buy a stop. The defense, I have not seen BYU look that bad defensively. Kansas was carving them up for a while, but it just felt like Kansas and Allen Fieldhouse, like they're making a bunch of shots. This looks, I don't know, Oklahoma State, it felt a little bit different there. Turnovers were a problem. BYU turned it over 8 times in the first 8 minutes. That's how they trailed by 15. You got 10 combined turnovers from AJ DeBonsa and Rob Wright. And it was just, 52 points in the paint, I think, is really the stat of the game here. I should have led with that. Kevin Young said it was a layup fest. And that is totally what it looked like. It was just like Oklahoma State was getting to the rim at will. It didn't matter. BYU was not staying in front of anybody. So now you're on a 3-game losing streak. You're staring a potential 4-game losing streak in the face because Houston, as good as they are, I just said 20-2, 8-1 in the Big 12. I mean, they look great. You've got to beat them or you're going to have lost 4 straight. Arizona is not far away on the schedule. This is a pretty tricky stretch that BYU is going through right now. So is it panic time? Is it panic time? Is the season falling apart? I think that's a complicated question to answer right now. I think there's reason to hope. I think there's reason to freak out a bit, okay? Before I tell you fully which side I land on, please do hit subscribe as we push toward 30,000 subscribers here on the channel. I appreciate all of you who do that. But why I wouldn't panic yet, okay? This would be the biggest reason if I were going to tell you, like, hey, it's not worth getting too terribly worked up. That is that lots of good teams, like historically, most good teams, good to great teams, are going to have a stretch like this. Your mileage may vary on how long the stretch is, how many of the games are actually losses versus maybe you struggle in a close win. But you get into the dog days of the season, like every team is going to have some stretch like this. And these are, I mean, my friends, early February in the Big 12, the grind of this conference. Like these are the dog days. You think of Major League Baseball, the dog days of summer, a game in July. Like that's where we're at on the college basketball calendar right now. Even if you look at a team, so like Iowa State last year, they start 17-2, then they lose 3 straight. They lost 6 of 11, so they have a stretch where they're like 6. They're basically a 500 team there for a while. Still wound up as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. BYU last year, timing a bit different because it was the beginning of conference play when BYU really struggled, but BYU started 2-4 in the league. Then they went 12-2 the rest of the way and finished 14-6. So even within the context of BYU under Kevin Young, we've seen them endure a 6-game stretch where it was not going well in Big 12 play, and they turned it around. Other reasons not to panic here. I mean, if you're just thinking about the tournament profile and what your ceiling is in the NCAA tournament, like BYU's profile is pretty strong right now. Top 25 strength of schedule. You're still 17th in the net. You're 18th in KenPom. Like you're doing pretty well. You're still within striking distance of being a 3 or 4 seed if you can turn this around. If you're curious about KenPom's predictions, by the way, they've got the Cougars at 22-9 and 10-8 by the time the season is done. And the other thing is, like, I mean, last night, I know it doesn't feel great. Oklahoma State on the wrong side of the bubble for now, but that's a quad 1 loss. That's not some horrific loss. Oklahoma State is a team that has some legitimate teeth to it. I think they could very well be an NCAA tournament team by the time it's all said and done. That's a quad 1 loss on the road. Jacked environment, fired up place. That's not a bad loss. However, if you are looking for reasons to panic or things that would still really concern me here, honestly, the biggest is just that, and this doesn't have that much to do with the Oklahoma State game, but it's, have we seen BYU beat Wisconsin. That's the one ranked team that BYU has beaten this year. I wonder about the ceiling of this team just because we haven't seen it. Now, to be fair, when you're playing ranked teams in the Big 12, you're not getting like you're back into the top 25 ranked team that you might in other conferences, because the Big 12 in hoops is very much like the Big 10 in football this year. You've got like 5 to 6 great teams. It's a pretty soft middle. There's not much in the middle, and then teams that are not that great. And so you're not getting a crack at like, a team that might be like a 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. You're playing all top 4 seeds when you're playing like second weekend caliber teams when you're losing to ranked teams in the Big 12. So that doesn't mean that BYU can't still be a second weekend team. They are still very much so allowed to get better. And when you've got 3 guys that can all pop for 30, AJ DeBonsa did last night for 36, you've got 3 guys that can all pop for 30. You've got some real building blocks to work with. There is some firepower there. One concern then, I guess, on the other side is like, well, BYU had just been taking care of unranked teams. They'd won 22 straight against unranked teams until last night. So if that's starting to slip, then okay, now we can fall back on the concern meter. Look, I wouldn't say it's time to panic. I don't think that's fair. But I am left wondering now at this point, okay, is this a team that does have like second weekend ceiling or Final Four ceiling, or is this just like a round of 64, round of 32 type of team? Because that's more of what they have looked like lately. A lot of fights. You've definitely seen that, particularly in the Arizona and Kansas games. There's a lot of fight there. But can they avoid these slow starts and play a complete game and beat a good team, win a quad 1 game? Like that's the question right now that we need to see. Or is this just the midseason slump? I think there's every reason to be patient with them and, again, not freak out, not panic about it, because it very, very, very well could just be we're in the dog days of the schedule. This league is a bear. It is really hard playing in Stillwater against this Oklahoma State team with Steve Lutz getting it rolling a little bit. It's not easy. It's not easy. But let me know what you think. Is this just the annual slump that most good teams go through? Is it a warning sign that BYU is not like a real true second weekend and beyond type of team this year? Let me know in the comments. And click here to find out how BYU can still save the Big 12's reputation this year.